This is an action camera that is literally the size of my thumb. And just for the record, I have a normal sized thumb, so this is a very, very small camera. This tiny thing can shoot 1440p up to 50 frames per second, which is simply incredible for a standalone unit that, frankly speaking, looks small enough to be a choking hazard. I don't think you can say that for many cameras. And being an Insta360 camera means it also comes with their famously good flow state stabilization. That means you don't even have to be super careful with it to get buttery smooth footage. So this little bean here really is quite the complete package. The way you go around town with the Insta360 GO2 actually reminds me so much of my AirPods, because you carry the tech around in its charging case, and the case holds enough power to charge the camera from 0 to full multiple times, so to charge it on the go, you literally just have to put it back in its case. In fact, it's not just the charging concept that reminds me of AirPods, the physical size of the whole thing is also about as small as my AirPods Pro. Except we are talking about a whole camera in here. The extra footprint for bringing the GO2 along is practically negligible. You could just slip it in your pocket or drop it in your bag and you probably won't even feel it. Now, this charge case for the GO2 also serves as a control unit for the camera. When the camera is in the case, then it functions as a shooting grip or tripod, but it can also wirelessly control the camera. You can change modes, check the battery, start and stop recording, look at how long it's been recording, all that functionality from just the charging case. That's important because it means you have complete operation of the GO2 without having to whip out your phone and connect it to the app, which, depending on the situation, could be a delay that's enough to pull you out of that moment. In fact, from just the GO2 unit alone, it still is possible to trigger recording because it does have one button on the camera itself. So between the app, the case, and the camera itself, you've got quite a number of options to control it. This case is also quite essential for transferring what you've shot off of the GO2. It doesn't take memory cards, so it records internally onto built-in memory. You can choose either a 32GB or 64GB version at the time of purchase, and the camera unit itself doesn't have any ports, so to hook it up to a computer, you need to first put it in the charge case, then use the USB-C port on the charge case to connect it to a computer. From then on, you can access your footage from the camera like it's a removable drive. Of course, the alternative to that would be to wirelessly connect it to the phone app, then export your footage from there. If you're on the move, this is probably the preferred way as well, because it allows you to share your footage directly onto social media. By default, the camera shoots video in standard mode, but there is also an option for Pro mode. In fact, I would very super highly recommend shooting Pro mode for just about everything on the Insta360 GO2. That's because in Pro mode, it records the full image circle instead of a cropped frame. And because the raw footage is a circle, that means the moment you turn on flow state with horizon lock, it doesn't matter which way up the camera is, it will always forever be right side up. You never have to worry if the camera is at an angle or being rotated while filming, as long as the lens is pointing towards where the action is happening. Also, because of it being circular, another perk you get is the ability to change your aspect ratio in post. But because of how small the actual camera is, battery life is not that long. It's just physically not possible to fit a big battery in here. If you're recording in Pro video mode, you can expect about 15 to 20 minutes of independent runtime before it needs to go back into the case for a charge. Good news is it actually charges really quickly in the case. Also, beside the battery level indicator for the case, it also really helpfully displays how many more times the case can charge the GO2 from 0 to full. But ultimately, the limiting factor to how long you'll be able to record on the GO2 is going to be heat. It honestly doesn't take very long before you get an overheat warning on this camera, but frankly, I don't actually hold Insta360 against it. You see, making a camera this small comes at a cost. Inside this little package, you have the image sensor, image processor, a battery being discharged, and flash storage being written onto. All of these things generate heat during operation. So even though overheating is not cool, pun intended, I can understand why it's happening on the GO2. Still, I think it's very important to drive home the fact that if you need a camera for long-form recording or demanding professional work, this is simply not the right tool for the job. This camera brings maximum value when used the way Insta360 designed it for. It is a lifestyle action camera that's great for capturing moments. For the occasional recording done in short bursts, the limited runtime should be sufficient. But without doubt, the GO2's biggest unfair advantage is how crazily tiny of a footprint it comes in. The sheer size of it opens up so many possibilities in terms of how you can mount it and where you can place it to get some truly unique angles. It fits in places you generally wouldn't be able to fit a camera in. It also weighs only 26.5 grams, which is less than a shot of espresso when you think about it. It's got a 120-degree field of view, which in full frame equivalent is like an 11mm lens. Very, very wide. It comes with a whole range of mounting accessories for it, although because it's so small and light, you could kind of just tape it or blue tack it onto any surface you want to mount it on. It does ship with a rather unique mounting accessory though, and that's the magnetic pendant. You wear the pendant inside your shirt, then just pop the GO2 on, and now you've got a hands-free first-person camera recording whatever you're up to. Among the action cameras, the Insta360 GO2 is easily one of my personal favorites. It's just so unique because it's shrunk itself into a class of its own. It not only unlocks unique perspectives, but is also a piece of hardware you'll never feel too lazy to pack with you. If this is something you think you could use in your life, I've got purchase links down below, and if you found this review helpful, I might just see you in another one.